Okay, today this is Dan Kerr, and I am here at Paul Robeson Memorial Event in Petworth on April 9th, 2022. Do you have permission to record this?
Yes.
Would you mind telling us your name?
My name is Diane Hill, and I go by Habia.
Habia.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit about your connection to this community?
Well, I used to perform with Uzikee's wife, January. I used to model with her. That's how I got to know January and Uzikee. But I actually grew up in the Petworth area. I grew up as a little girl on Kansas Avenue. I went to Barnard. I went to Petworth, which was down the street. And I actually lived up on 613 Upshur Street for about 10, 15 years.
That's terrific. Could you tell us a little bit about, what the meaning of this community is for you?
Well, this has always been a very family-oriented community. Before they started doing a lot of, redevelopment, just a lot of homes. Families knew each other. We knew our neighbors. We had a lot of corner stores, that are no longer in the area. So it brought a sense of community because we meet each other at a recreational center down the street. We meet there after school. Our church was in the area, and then the families lived close, so we would walk back and forth to our families' homes.
That's great. And you did mention something that I think I got to follow up on.
Yes.
You said you used to be a model?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I started modeling with January. I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter. She's now 41, so that's how long ago it was. And January and Uzikee had just started and moved to the area, and I met her at I think we were at Crampton Auditorium. And we, introduced myself, and she was looking for models, and I started modeling with her. I didn't start right then. It was later on she ran into me, and she asked if I would model for a lunch she was doing for Marion Barry's wife. And just so happened that she didn't know that I was 6 months pregnant. And then it was nice because Effie Barry was also pregnant. And I wanted my daughter and Chris just wanted to go on to school together. They went to Wilson High School together. Yes.
That's terrific. And could you, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that we didn't talk about, but what was the significance between fashion and community for you?
Oh my goodness, we grew up I think we grew up with fashion, we grew up with play clothes, we grew up with school clothes, and then our church clothes or social clothing. And so I grew up with a family of seamstress. My mom was a seamstress, my grandma was a tailor, so fashion was it for us. We were always, we dressed. We made a lot of our things, especially when we went out. Our going out clothes were made at home. Yes.
That's terrific. And what have been some of those changes that you were participating? Obviously, that was a significant moment.
Oh, yeah, very significant because we color-coded things. We go find the earrings to match our outfits. That was an era, too, where even with our shoes, we wouldn't wear our shoes. We got our tabs put on the bottom of our shoes. We didn't wear certain clothes. Back then, women used to get darts in their clothing and get the clothes taken in. So it was a certain way we looked when we went out.
That's terrific.
Yes. We couldn't have things just hanging off of us. They had to be fitted. Yes.
And again, I know we didn't talk about this before, but what about, tell me a little bit about the meaning of the work that Genoa was doing with fashion.
Oh, wow. I also used to dance. So I used to dance with Brother R, and it was a creative dance, just dancing from the spirit, whatever you feel. It wasn't a choreographed necessary dance. It was just dancing to the music. And so meeting January with her fashions were more, she calls fashion art. It was art form. And so when we would put her garments on, we would take on the garment. We would just come to life. So you become the movement of the garment. So the fashion, the colors, the Afrocentric part of it. But it was a blend of Afrocentric plus just us as African people. Even clothes that we wore, everything wasn't necessarily African fabric, but just the designs. So I think it was a nice combination of the artistic side, the clothes we just normally wore, and then the African blend. Yes.
That's terrific.
Yes.
And then on the movement side, on the dance side, were there ways in which you sought inspiration from the African continent or from?
Oh yes, because Brother R was his music was of nature, and so a lot of his music was very soothing. There was a lot of just healing music too. too. But it was also very just natural nature movement, sounds you would hear in nature. A lot of his music, yes.
That's terrific. And how do you, in terms of the moment, again, I guess we're thinking back, this would have been the 70s, are we talking about? Or?
Well, as a matter of fact, I graduated from school in 1970. So I met January probably a little later on, probably like 78, because my daughter was born in 80. So I think around 78, 1978. Yeah.
And was that scene with dance and with the fashion and the modeling, did that give you a sense of community?
Oh, definitely, because we were a community. We were just a good group of people. Even with the dance, I used to dance with a company called Wosay, and just seeing people that from here, from America, born here, and taking on that kind of culture, the dancing, the African dance, the clothing. So yes, I would say it was a wonderful blend, yes. And the community was just such a warm community. But we were all learning together, learning our African side. So yes, it was a nice blend of culture. And to see someone you may have went to school with and now see them like part of this culture, so that was really good, yes.
That's terrific.
Yes.
And you talked earlier about your connection to Petworth. And
yes.
How did that African cultural movement kind of resonate in Petworth?
Well, I would say because, I would say in terms of African community, because I went to Petworth, I just think the whole thing, each one teach one. I said it because when we went to school, we would meet each other. Like I had friends that lived further upshire, but they would stop by my house. We would stop and pick up everybody as we went to school. So that was a nice sense of community. We wait for each other after school, so we walk home together. None of us, unless we were just late, we never walked by ourselves. So I think that was a wonderful sense of community. Also, back then we used to come home for lunch. We actually went home for lunch, so that was another sense of leaving school, walking together. We just did a lot of things together. What Rex said, a lot of times we just did things together because we knew our neighbors. We all lived in the same neighborhood before the kids started getting bused to different areas. So we knew our friends in the neighborhood, yes.
That's terrific. I'm going to ask you one other question because your earrings are so beautiful.
Thank you.
How about jewelry and your connection to
I love jewelry. I'm an earring lady. I love jewelry, especially earrings. I think earrings are they have a statement for us, in terms of how we wear them to match our outfits. But I got into like I said, in the early '70s. When I graduated from high school is when I got more Afrocentric and wearing my fro and just the longer earrings. We were a little more conservative when I was younger, but then I got to my own style. Yes.
That's great. And do you work with artists that are jewelers or make?
Well, my ex was he passed on, but he was a jeweler, and so. The jewelry that he made was very cultural, very ethnic, very Afrocentric. Yes. Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, just to be here in the community. I don't live right in the city. I live further up Georgia Avenue now. But to still see the vibrance of the area, of the Petworth area, and to see that even with Uzikee, to see that this great work of art that he's done is right here in this community. I think is wonderful, because it still is, I'm sure, but just a very family-oriented neighborhood. Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
It is important.